Let me ask you a question. Are you thrilled with your health? I mean, really happy with it? That's what's supposed to happen when you go to your doctor, but if you're listening to this, you may still be suffering with neuropathy. Statistically, 90% of neuropathy sufferers are relying on medications or injections to manage their neuropathy, and we all know that these are not the ideal long-term solutions. All right, here's another question. If we could offer you a better way to treat your neuropathy and improve your condition by 60 to 100%, would you be interested in that? Neuropathy is a disorder of the peripheral nerves. Those are the nerves that go down your arms and hands and down your legs and feet. The peripheral nerves are anything outside of the central nervous system, which is just the brain and spinal cord. So the peripheral nerves, like the ones that go down to your hands and feet, are the ones that get affected in neuropathy. If you look on the right-hand side of the screen, you'll see 3 different types of nerves. On the top, there's a healthy nerve with little blood vessels wrapped around it. Underneath those blood vessels, you have what's called the myelin sheath. The myelin sheath is like insulation for an electrical cord, and your nerves need it to function properly. In order for that myelin sheath to survive, it has to be nourished by blood vessels like the ones you see in the picture. Looking at the middle nerve, it looks like it's starting to shrink. The constriction of blood vessels decreases the amount of blood getting to the nerve and the amount of nutrients it receives, and eventually it ends up looking like the bottom nerve where it looks like it's dying off. This is what happens in neuropathy. Peripheral neuropathy is one of the most common chronic conditions in the United States. About 8% of the United States population suffers from peripheral neuropathy, which is about 24 million people and growing. Peripheral neuropathy can occur at any age, but it's most common among older adults. We've seen patients who have neuropathy who are aged 30 to 101. The most common causes of peripheral neuropathy are diabetes and also idiopathic, which means the cause is unknown. But we can treat neuropathy that comes from many different causes. We don't only treat patients who have neuropathy from diabetes. Are you tired of taking medications? The truth is, most of us don't like taking a lot of medications every day, especially long-term. They always come with side effects, and it's just not the ideal long-term solution to treat the underlying causes of your condition. The information that we're going to tell you next might be a little bit scary, but we're just trying to help you be informed about all the information you might need to know. All the information we're about to present comes from the Centers for Disease Control and the World Health Organization, and you have a right to know about this as a patient. If we do the same thing over and over and over again, we're going to keep getting the same results. If nothing changes, then nothing changes for either the doctor or the patient. The conventional approach to treating peripheral neuropathy is to prescribe medication, wait till the condition gets worse, then maybe increase the dosage, wait till it gets worse, then maybe add in some more medication, wait till it gets worse, and then pretty soon add in the really heavy-duty pain medications. And this goes on until the patient is completely debilitated, and as a last resort, amputation. There are no medications that slow down neuropathy or reverse it. If you're taking gabapentin, Neurontin, Cymbalta, heavy-duty pain meds, amitriptyline, and you've been doing this for months, years, or decades, what could possibly change? We've seen these trends skyrocketing, and we want to stop the cycle and take a different approach with our treatment program. So most patients are wondering at this point, okay, how do I get healthy? Well, the good news is that the doctor who put together this program, it's his job to fly around the country, attend conferences, read studies, and put together the best methods that have been proven for many years to help patients with neuropathy get better. These methods are helping thousands of neuropathy sufferers, and they're highly studied and proven with methods outside of relying on medications, drugs, and surgeries. Your doctor has made a great choice to use this program, and you're in very good hands. This picture comes from a veterans magazine, and it describes our typical medical standard of care. We have an epidemic in the U.S. We have a system that's focused on symptom care, meaning that for every symptom we have, what do we have for it? Well, a medication, of course. Our conventional medical system never looks at the underlying problems that are causing diseases. Pretty much everybody agrees that we're in a healthcare crisis in the U.S. Our healthcare system is great at treating acute problems, meaning if you get the flu, break your arm, or have a near-death experience, it can get you back to functioning pretty well, and our insurance system definitely reflects this. But it's not very good at treating chronic problems, which need a more holistic approach to treat the underlying problems that are causing the disease. What kinds of health conditions are on the rise today, and what makes up the majority of doctors' visits today? Well, we have things like heart disease, diabetes, and neuropathy, and these are all chronic conditions. Chronic conditions account for 75% of all doctors' visits, which means only 25% are for acute problems. And unfortunately, as we just discussed, our healthcare system is geared towards solving acute problems and not chronic ones, which make up the majority of all doctors' visits. You can see why we have a big and growing healthcare crisis on our hands. How much do you think we as a country spend on healthcare in 1 year? Usually at these seminars, we'll get guesses with some very high numbers like $100 billion. Well, that's close, but not quite. We actually spend $3 trillion a year on combating these chronic conditions, but they're still on the rise. At some point, we have to agree that it's not the money we throw at these conditions that's going to help. It's the actual approach that we're taking that's going to get people better. We live in the wealthiest country in the world, and to spend this kind of money on healthcare could be a great thing if it was making people better, but we have to look at the facts, and it's not necessarily making people better. Let's look at some more of those facts.
We only represent 5% of the world's population, yet we consume 75% of the world's prescription drugs. How did we get this way?
When you think of drug addicts, you don't think of a housewife with 4 kids.
No, but we're everywhere.
Anybody can get addicted to these. When I was 16 years old,
no one ever said, well, you shouldn't do the prescription drugs that the doctor said you can take.
Talk to your doctor. Ask your doctor.
I've got the answer right here, ladies and gentlemen, to everything that ails you.
These doctors are profiting by keeping you sick.
Again, this could be a great thing if these medications were making us better, but are they? We have the most doctors and the most hospitals in the world. But again, my question is, are we getting healthier due to these facts? So, the U.S. has the most doctors, the most hospitals, we take the most medications, and we spend the most money of any country in the world on healthcare. So where do you think we stand in terms of health when compared to the rest of the world? We must be at least in the top 10, right? Well, we're actually not in the top 10. When you look at the richest countries in the world, the U.S. ranks last in terms of health. When you look at all first world countries, the U.S. ranks last in health as well. The World Health Organization picked 37 countries to study health. The U.S. was ranked 37 out of 37 when it came to health. What this means is there are countries out there that spend a fraction of a percentage of what we spend on healthcare, that have so much less resources than we do, that don't have any of these medications, that are actually healthier than us. Based on this information, do you think we're on the right path? Here's a video that illustrates some of the problems with our current healthcare system.
The American healthcare system is badly broken.
The present system doesn't work, and it's going to take us down. We need a whole new kind of medicine.
We're in the grip of a very big industry, and it doesn't want to stop making money.
If I spend 5 minutes with you and then put in one of these stents, I probably get paid $1,500. For me to spend 45 minutes with a patient to try to figure out what their true problem is, probably get paid $15. It's a completely irrational system.
We don't have a healthcare system in this country. We have a disease management system.
We're spending almost twice as much in America as any other country on earth, but our lifespan isn't even in the top 20.
30,000 Medicare recipients die each year from care they didn't need. That's the equivalent of a jumbo jet crashing every single week. If the aviation industry killed as many people, we'd be up in arms.
The administration pays you based on how many patients you see. All right, who's next? If you try and buck the system, someone says, what can we do to get your productivity up? I'm not interested in getting my productivity up. I'm interested in helping patients.
We're seeing the military just being a microcosm of the problem society's having.
Soldiers' use of prescription drugs has tripled in the past 5 years.
This medications I was on.
Only by accepting that the American healthcare system is badly broken will we be able to seek out the escape fires, the potential solutions. There are answers.
One company has figured out how to lower healthcare costs by more than 40%.
We provide incentives for people to engage in healthier behaviors.
The Army Surgeon General directed that we establish the Pain Management Task Force to take a look at alternatives to narcotics.
I was skeptical, so skeptical.
I've gotten a lot of inspiration, a different perspective. There's a different way of doing things that is possible.
If
If I think about what healthcare could be like, it would have a lot more care in it.
The healthcare system is unsustainable. We're really mortgaging the future. Not just the health of healthcare, we're talking about the health of the nation.
All right, let's lighten things up a little bit. The average home actually has 2 washing machines. The first one washes your clothes, and the second one is a brain washing machine. Did you know that by the age of 18, we actually see 2,000 hours of pharmaceutical drug ads? Usually they'll show something like a happy, healthy couple walking down the beach, but then in the background, there's always that soft voice that talks for sometimes quite a while about all the side effects that could come with the drug. The pharmaceutical industry spends $5 billion each year marketing products to consumers. Their incentives are all aligned for them to create drugs that you can take for the rest of your life to manage your condition, not to cure it and get off the drugs. We make sure to check in with our patients about a plan to get off the medications that they're currently taking. Most doctors never even talk to their patients about this at all. We've had patients come through our clinic who have been taking their medications for months, years, even decades, and some of them don't even know why they're taking them anymore. Next, we're going to show you a commercial for a common medication that's prescribed for neuropathy, but notice the long laundry list of side effects at the end. The first 30 seconds of the commercial is about what the drug does, but the last minute is about all the side effects.
Hi, I'm Terry, and I have diabetic nerve pain. I worked at Patrol Unit for 17 years in the city of Baltimore. When I first started experiencing the pain, it's hard to describe because you have a numbness, but yet you have the pain like thousands of needles sticking in your foot. This progressively getting worse, and at that point I knew I had to do something. When I went back to my healthcare professional, that's when she suggested the Lyrica. Once I started taking the Lyrica, the pain started subsiding.
It's known that diabetes damages nerves. Lyrica is FDA approved to treat diabetic nerve pain. Lyrica is not for everyone. It may cause serious allergic reactions or suicidal thoughts or actions. Tell your doctor right away if you have these. New or worsening depression or unusual changes in mood or behavior, or swelling, trouble breathing, rash, hives, blisters, changes in eyesight including blurry vision, muscle pain with fever, tired feeling, or skin sores from diabetes. Common side effects are dizziness, sleepiness, weight gain, and swelling of hands, legs, and feet. Don't drink alcohol while taking Lyrica. Don't drive or use machinery until you know how Lyrica affects you. Those who have had a drug or alcohol problem may be more likely to misuse Lyrica. Ask your doctor about Lyrica today.
One of the most commonly prescribed drugs for peripheral neuropathy is not even designed to treat peripheral neuropathy. Generally speaking, about 20% of drugs are prescribed off-label. Off-label means that the drug is designed and approved for one condition, but it is used for other conditions. The use of gabapentin or Neurontin has become so widespread that as many as 90% of prescriptions are for off-label uses, such as the treatment of peripheral neuropathy. Speaking of Neurontin or gabapentin, it's actually not FDA approved for neuropathy treatment, although it's commonly prescribed off-label to treat neuropathy. The FDA approved gabapentin for seizure disorders. The way this drug works is by calming down neurons. That's why it's effective for seizures, because a seizure is too much activity of the neurons in the brain. It also happens to work for neuropathy by calming down the nerves as well. So as the dose increases, so do the calming effects on the nerves, but also so do the side effects. A normal dosage for this drug would be about 300 milligrams or maybe even 600 milligrams. Above that, you really start running more risks in terms of side effects, but we commonly see patients who are prescribed 2,400 milligrams, 4,800 milligrams. We even talked to a pharmacist locally who saw someone who was prescribed 7,800 milligrams of gabapentin every day. And you have to ask yourself, are the benefits and trade-offs worth it for these high dosages of drugs that could potentially run the risk of huge side effects as well? Don't forget that each medication is accompanied by a whole host of potential side effects, some of which can be quite negative. We're not going to tell you not to take medications. There's certainly a time and a place for them. If you need them to take the edge off so you can go to work, enjoy time with your family, go on a walk, be able to sleep at night because your feet feel like they're burning in bed, then take your medication until you figure out a solution to your problem. That's what we're here for. We're trying to provide a solution that's going to work for you in the long term and actually address the underlying problems that are going on with your neuropathy. This article from Medline Plus brings up a really important point. This is a study showing that there are more people killed by prescription narcotics than cocaine and heroin combined. Today, prescription medications are the third leading cause of death, right behind cancer and heart disease. Let's switch directions now and talk about how we treat our bodies. Sometimes we treat our bodies worse than our car. Let me ask you a question. If your check engine light came on in your car today, what would you do? Exactly, you'd probably take it to a mechanic. They'd pinpoint the internal problem and fix it, and the light would go off because the internal problem had been fixed. What if I were to tell you that the last time my check engine light came on, I drove it to the mechanic and asked him to just reset the light for me so it didn't bother me anymore while I drove? That doesn't make sense, does it? But this is exactly what we're doing with our pain. We take medications so the symptoms go away, but we never address the underlying cause. The next time you have balance problems, burning, electric shock-like pain, feel squishy on the bottom of your feet like you're wearing socks but you're not, or you have cramping or sharp pains, understand that this is a warning from your body. This is like your body's alarm system going off. If you were to ignore this warning, and going back to the check engine light analogy, it would be like if you reached into your glove box and put a Band-Aid over the check engine light so you don't have to see it anymore. What's going to happen? Well, the internal problem is just going to grow some more, and then finally lead to a point of failure. This is exactly what we do with our health. As we said, there is a time and a place for medication. We have to work and enjoy life, but putting a bandage on neuropathy is going to get you into a situation with a point of no return. Eventually, you won't be able to walk, you're going to start falling, or it might get so bad that it's not even treatable anymore. You think more like a doctor than you probably think. Let me give you an example. If you see this wilting plant, what's the first thing you'd think to do? Well, you have to give the plant everything it needs to be healthy. You have to give it water, it needs sunlight, it needs nutrients, and we got to get rid of any toxins that may be hurting the plant. The same things go for your body and your health, especially when it comes to neuropathy. We have to give your body everything it needs to work properly. We're a living organism just like a plant, and we have certain requirements that we need. We have different types of nerves that are specialized for different things. We have nerves that feel pressure, sense position, that can feel vibration, hot, cold, heavy touch, and light touch. Neuropathy usually starts out by appearing in one foot most of the time. It may be there some days but not others. It may jump into the other foot, then it may go up your leg, and it progresses pretty slowly for 2 to 5 years. But at some point, there's going to be a drop-off point where it gets dramatically worse, and at that time, it's not going to be treatable anymore. We try to reach people and help them before this drop-off point so their neuropathy can be treated successfully. Let's go over some of the effects of nerve damage from neuropathy. One of the types of nerve fibers that's commonly affected in neuropathy is large fibers, which control balance and coordination. This can lead to big problems because if you start losing your balance and coordination, this can lead to falls. And falls are a major concern because they definitely increase the frequency of injuries. This is why we're so serious about helping people with neuropathy. Falls are no joke, they really put lives at risk. 1 out of every 3 seniors experiences a fall each year. 20 to 30% of those who fall suffer moderate to severe injuries, such as bruises, hip fractures, or head traumas. 10% of all falls are fatal. Falls are the leading cause of injury and death among adults over age 65. However, less than half of seniors talk to their healthcare provider after experiencing a fall. Another type of nerve fibers that get affected with neuropathy are small fibers. These are the fibers that feel pain and sharp sensations. The problem with this is that patients don't know if they cut or injure their feet. We've seen patients come in with deep cuts, broken toes, and other foot injuries that they didn't even know they had because of neuropathy. Small fiber damage can also lead to symptoms like numbness, tingling, pinching, sharp, deep stabbing sensations, and electric shock sensations. There are 80,000 amputations performed in the United States every year, and peripheral neuropathy is the #1 cause of amputations in people with diabetes. What happens in these cases is we have decreased nitric oxide and VEGF in the bloodstream, which leads to decreased blood flow to the nerves and skin. Decreased blood flow at the nerves and skin means longer healing times, and then when you get infections and ulcerations, they can lead to gangrene, which leads to a situation where you have to amputate to save the person's life. C-fiber damage is very common with neuropathy. C-fibers let your brain know the temperature of your feet. Sometimes you might feel freezing pain, or you might feel like your feet are burning even though they're a normal temperature. This is caused by C-fiber damage in neuropathy. So what are your choices? Well, you could go to your primary care doctor and get drugs to mask the symptoms, or you could go to your neurologist and get a nerve test and then get prescribed the same exact medications. The medications don't change based on which doctor you go to, so it's pretty limited in terms of your choices. Some people say that the definition of the word insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. If nothing changes, then nothing changes. And that's totally true for our health and the way we approach treating chronic conditions like neuropathy. If you've been told before that nothing can be done or you just have to live with it, well, we're here to tell you today that that is absolutely not true. Dr. Neil Barnard says in this book that you can reverse diabetes, heart disease, even neuropathy, and we completely agree. In fact, the doctor who designed this program has been saying that for years. Chronic conditions can be reversed. You just need to put the body in the optimal position to heal itself, and once it's there, it knows exactly what to do. We use some writing in our program from a doctor that says something very similar but specifically geared towards peripheral neuropathy. So what's the answer? Well, we need to help the body heal itself. This thought process has been around forever. Here's a quote from Thomas Edison, who had over 1,000 patents and discoveries. He said, "The doctor of the future will no longer treat the human frame with drugs, but will rather cure and prevent disease with nutrition." That's an interesting quote, and it's an idea that we've lost sight of over time as we've come to rely more on drugs, surgeries, and injections, none of which actually cure chronic conditions. Do you believe that the body can heal itself if given the proper tools? We restore nerve function and health by healing from the inside out. We take a comprehensive approach to treating peripheral neuropathy, and we feel strongly that the best outcomes are a result of addressing the body as a whole. A critical and unique part of our treatment plan involves a series of comprehensive treatments that put the body into an optimal position to heal itself. Your body knows exactly how to heal itself. Sometimes it just needs a little help. If you're wondering whether that's really true that the body knows exactly how to heal itself, let me give you an analogy. If you were to break your arm and you needed a cast, does the cast do the healing or does your body? Let's say you cut your hand and you needed to have stitches. Do the stitches heal the cut or does the body? Right, in both cases, it's the body that heals itself. Sometimes it just needs a little help. The cast and the stitches are just putting the body into the optimal position to heal itself. That's what we do with neuropathy. We do a lot of research, and we go out and look for the newest cutting-edge technology to treat neuropathy. We found that if you attack neuropathy from every angle and leave no stone unturned, about 85 to 90% of our patients get great results. Let me tell you what great means. For example, that would be like if you had 60% nerve loss and you could restore most of that, taking you down to 10 or 20%. If your pain was diminished from a daily nuisance to nothing, numbness gets better, balance gets better, and most importantly, you're able to do the things you had to stop doing because of the condition. Since we're talking about putting the body into an optimal position to heal itself, let's go back over the pathology of what's happening in neuropathy one more time. Up top, you see a picture of a healthy nerve. The nerve fibers on the inside, and then on top of that, you have the myelin sheath protecting the nerve, and then you have lots of little blood vessels on the outside, which are supplying oxygen and nutrients to the nerve. Now, if everything that's pictured below that top picture is representing neuropathy, we need to get some new blood vessels going so they can supply the damaged nerve with blood, oxygen, nutrients, everything it needs to thrive. Your nerves are kind of like a plant. If a plant is wilting, what would you do? You give it water, sunlight, and nutrients. That's exactly what we're trying to do with your nerves. We're trying to get some of those new little blood vessels coming in so they can nourish the nerve back to health. Neuropathy is a condition that requires a multi-pronged approach to treat all the damaged areas. We found that a 5-part therapy regimen we've developed really works for treating neuropathy, and each part is just as important as the others. Now let's talk more about each of those specific parts of our program. One element in our treatment program is called low-level light therapy. This is basically the use of a red light to stimulate a process called angiogenesis. Angiogenesis is the creation of new blood vessels, and new blood vessels around a damaged area are exactly what it needs so it can start to heal. This is an example of what angiogenesis looks like. At the top, you see a nerve with very little blood supply, but after angiogenesis occurs, you see a huge network of blood vessels, which is exactly what the nerve needs to repair the damage. And this is a real picture of angiogenesis. On the left, you see a nerve with barely any blood vessels. That's the control. And on the right, you see a picture of a nerve with lots of blood vessels after treatment with laser or low-level light and VEGF, which is a protein that stimulates angiogenesis. There are thousands of studies on low-level light therapy that support its safety and effectiveness. Light therapy can help reduce pain, improve immune function, it speeds up wound healing, it speeds up the healing of fractures, it increases the production of DNA and collagen, and it increases the activity of fibroblasts. All of those things are just necessary for wounds and injuries to heal. Low-level light therapy has been approved by the FDA for treatment since 2001. The second part of our treatment plan is re-educating the nerves. Basically, when nerves get sick and they start dying off, they forget how to work properly, so we have to basically rehab them and teach them how to function properly again. We use a technology that's used in all the cancer treatment centers of America. The reason they need this is because chemotherapy can also damage nerves, and they get great results with this, and so do we. This is different than a TENS unit, which you may have seen before. That's just for pain management. We use a more advanced and updated technology to re-educate the nerves, and our patients love it and they get great results with it. We speak the language of the nerves. What does this mean? Well, we use low-level light therapy to stimulate angiogenesis. We use a cutting-edge digital electrotherapeutic stimulator to help the nerves stop hurting and retrain them to function properly. And a lot of this is done right in the comfort of your own home, so you can get your healing started in a convenient way. The third part of our treatment regimen is a nutritional protocol that's developed specifically for neuropathy. There's a natural vasodilator which opens up the blood vessels. It's called nitric oxide, and you need this to keep the blood flowing in those little tiny blood vessels that nourish the nerves. However, increased amounts of sugars and starches actually decrease the efficiency of nitric oxide, and the typical American diet is full of these high sugar and starchy foods. So this, of course, leads to decreased blood flow in those tiny little blood vessels that those nerves rely on for their nourishment. Sugars and starches can also create inflammation in the body, which further acts to decrease blood flow. We address all of this with our nutritional protocol that's specifically designed to treat neuropathy. And don't worry, it's easy to follow, it's fun, you can totally do it. This is a tale of two blood vessels. The one on the left is constricted, which means less blood flow is going to be coming through that, right? When you decrease the size of a pipe, less can flow through it. Whereas the blood vessel on the right just got some nitric oxide and now it's dilated, meaning the interior of that pipe is expanded and more blood can flow through it. This is what we want because we need to bring more blood flow to those little nerves so they can get the nourishment that they need to heal. We give our patients some natural products that help the body produce more nitric oxide. The idea is that this is going to lead to more dilation of the blood vessels and more blood flow to the areas that need it. The scientists that discovered the importance of nitric oxide in regulating blood flow actually won a Nobel Prize in 1998. We found that we really need to take a comprehensive approach to treat neuropathy. It can't be done with just simply a medication or an injection. Because there's so many factors that contribute to peripheral neuropathy, we really need to take a holistic approach to treat it. So some of the things that we do to treat neuropathy include light therapy, which stimulates angiogenesis, electrotherapy, which is going to repair and re-educate the nerve, our nutritional protocol and blood sugar monitoring, and also working on your balance and your joint health. All these elements come together in our comprehensive neuropathy treatment program. When we evaluate patients in our clinic, we put together a tailored program that's just for them, and we determine how many clinic visits they might need and what their at-home care protocol might look like to get them better. Here are the experiences of some of our patients in our neuropathy treatment program.
Hi, my name is Mickey. I came in with a severe neuropathy. I've been somewhat skeptical about coming here. I've been in the healthcare business for 45 years, but after increasing doses of gabapentin and having made no real progress, I came here. After 2 treatments, I was able to sleep at night without socks. So one of my big problems had been my feet were so cold and painful that I couldn't sleep at night. Very shortly after that, I was back to my neurologist, and he was so impressed that I reduced my gabapentin by half, and now I'm down to a quarter of what it was when I first started. Have seen continuing improvement in both my feet in terms of endurance, walking and standing. I'm happy with the progress I've made. One of the encouraging things is just working with Dr. Gum and his staff. It helps a positive frame of mind when you have people that enjoy their job.
I'm Mark Onley. It's January 29th, 2015. My feet have been dead for quite some time, and I got concerned because 2 different times in my pickup I had my foot on the accelerator instead of the brake and almost ran through the carport. So I saw an ad in the Dallas paper last fall about this place. My wife and I came up here and liked what we saw. So we started the treatments. About 3 to 4 weeks into the program, I noticed that after I'd done my home treatment, I could feel the carpet when I was walking. And that's the first time I've done that for quite some time. So continue to see improvements. I think I had only about 15% feeling in my feet when we started, and halfway through the program they checked me and I was up to 60%. So it's been very helpful. It's made me feel better, more confident in my driving, more confident in my walking, and it's been a good program for me.
And let me begin by saying that over 5 years ago, at the age of 80, I was told by a well-respected neurologist that I had peripheral neuropathy, and that at my age I probably had it for quite some time, and that there was nothing they could do for me other than to take B12 and be very careful that I do not fall over, hold on to shopping carts, etc. Well, I've lived with this for 5 years. I found Dr. Gumm's program at a local Rotary meeting and thought I would give it a try, fully expecting that I would be told a similar situation because of my age. Well, to my surprise, Dr. Gumm, after testing, I thought that he could really have the potential of giving me some help. And here I am now in my 8th week of therapy, and the results have been amazing. I've no longer have the tingling and pain sensations in my feet. My balance has become just drastically improved, and on top of all of this, the greatest thing is that I'm sleeping better at nights. I wake up in the morning fully refreshed, and psychologically and mentally I'm just feeling a great deal significantly better. And I would at this juncture highly recommend and that you consider using Dr. Gumm and his therapy and his routine, along with the expertise of his certainly professional, well-trained, compassionate staff that administers the program.
I came to Blueprint for health care because I was having pretty bad neuropathy in both of my feet. And it was continuing to get worse after seeing the medical doctors. They really couldn't do anything for me but give me some pain pills and some vitamin B12 shots. And it continued to get worse, and so I decided I need to do something about it, be proactive. And I saw the ad in the newspaper, so I came to get tested. And sure enough, I was in pretty bad shape. Been here this will be the 3rd week, and between all the stuff that they do here, it's like a 5-pronged deal, I guess, between diet, exercise, stretching, and all that. I have considerable improvement. I'm down to maybe 1 incident a week right now. I've only been coming for 3 weeks. I was having 5 or 6 incidents a day at the start, so it's helped a lot. The diet has helped a lot with the anti-inflammatory diet, the deflating diet. I've probably lost about 7 or 8 pounds already and feel better and have completely changed what I'm eating because I was eating all the wrong stuff, and I've already cut back on some of my diabetic medications with seeing my doctor. It was okay. We did some blood work and stuff, and also on my GERD stuff, cut my Nexum in half already. So my goal with this is to wind up getting off of all that stuff. My blood glucose is back in normal range all the time now, which is a big deal. So hopefully I'm going to continue to improve and change my lifestyle now that I've learned what I was doing wrong, continue to fix it so I won't have this problem again, and I'll live long.
What's your motivation? Why do you want to get healthy and reverse your neuropathy? Your motivation in this process is going to be our motivation. It could be that you want to be able to play with your grandkids, go on a walk again with your loved ones, or just have the ability to take care of yourself without relying on anyone else. With our health, we really only have two directions we can go. We can be moving towards greater health, or we can be moving away from it. No matter where you're at right now, it's never too late to improve your health or your well-being. Who should come see us? Well, it's really very simple. If you have the symptoms of neuropathy, come see us. It'd be silly not to go through our process and see if we can help you. If you have any of these symptoms, numbness, burning pain, cramping, sharp electric-like pains, prickling or tingling, if it hurts when you walk, if you can't sleep at night from foot pain, or if you have balance problems, come see us and let's find out if we can help you. Who should not come see us? Well, people who are looking for a quick fix, or if you don't want to take the time to take care of yourself and be an active participant in the process. We're extremely confident and competent in what we do. We don't take recommendations from outside sources. Our programs work, and as long as you commit yourself to them, you're going to get great results. What to expect when you come see us? Well, you'll get an application for admission to our program, you'll receive a consultation, we'll go over your health history, and you'll get an exam. When we evaluate our patients, we have a 16-step evaluation process that helps determine what kind of nerve fibers you have that are damaged and exactly what kind of treatment you need and how long it'll continue. If you make decisions as part of a team with a loved one, we would like them to attend your initial consultation and evaluation session as well. Neuropathy is a serious condition, and we want them to understand your condition, what it's going to take to get you better, and have us all on the same page making an educated decision together. If you weren't coming to us through a webinar or a seminar, the cost for your initial evaluation and consultation would be $249. Since you came to us today, the evaluation process is only going to be $49. Now, at this time, some of our potential patients have insurance questions that tend to come up, so we want to be really transparent with you and talk about that. Let's first go back, though, and talk about the two different types of conditions that we talked about at the beginning of this presentation. Well, we have acute care, which is where drugs, surgeries, and injections are used, and that's what insurance commonly covers. But the problem is that neuropathy doesn't need the acute care approach because it's not an acute care condition. It's a chronic condition, and it requires a systematic approach to get outside of the drugs, surgery, and injection paradigm so you can get better. Please do not wait and let your neuropathy get worse. Neuropathy is a progressive condition, meaning it gets worse over time. We're here for you, you're in great hands, and the practitioners who are using this program really know what they're doing and are going to help you get the results you want so you can get back to living your life. This next video makes it really clear that there are two paths for your health. Either you're moving towards greater health or you're moving away from it. And I'd like you to think about it as you watch it. Where would you like to be?
What will your last 10 years look like? Will you be quick enough for a game of tag with your grandchild? Strong enough to embrace every moment? Will you grow old with vitality? Or get old with disease? It's time to decide.